Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide after a month of my vacation, which was a very nice thing to have. I hope you are having a good summer and that you've had a very nice summer. So I'm gonna be easing back into the dynamics of my everyday life, YouTube included. And today I'm just gonna bring a easy video for me, just an update video on the Reinkstone R1 and TopJoy Butterfly Kickstarter Indiegogo projects from last year, both of which were financed back in summer, like a year ago, and were supposed to be shipped out back in November last year. And of course, delay and excuse after excuse, lack of communication, things like that. And we are here now, almost 1 year overdue. So let's see what's up. So let's start with the Reinkstone R1 announcements first, and to check out what updates do we have now. I'm not a supporter of the Reinkstone R1 on Kickstarter, so I'm not a backer nor a supporter of it. In fact, I actually issued quite a bit of few warnings for people to be very careful about this, and as such I can't really see the updates on Kickstarter. However, Indiegogo is a far more transparent platform, and there the updates are visible for everyone, backers or non-backers, it doesn't matter. So that's where I went to actually see the updates, because normally the updates are issued exactly the same time, and the exact same updates are issued on both platforms. So I assume this is the one that we have on Kickstarter as well. Anyway, on Indiegogo, June 29th. I was too optimistic here. So back in June 29th, they issued this one. So they just said that they have received some new DES screens from their screen supplier last week. They're now ramping up trial production and product certification only now. And we expect to ship the R1 in early September. I don't think so. So basically the demo of the latest screen is the thing that I was interested in, and that's basically what led me to their YouTube channel. And when you actually go to the Reinkstone YouTube channel, you can see what the problem is, which is 7 months ago they had the software update on Note improvement, and then over half a year of silence, complete silence and nothing going on. And now they've issued another update. This update basically shows, I don't understand what is this old version of UI. I no longer understand what any of it means, but what I do know is that this icon up here, that's the full screen refresh. Now just pay attention to that, because the amount of ghosting is still really bad. And basically for normal operation with the Reinkstone R1, it seems that you need to refresh it after pretty much every single operation if we're talking about color content. The black and white content seems to be working a bit better, and what we can see is several things. So I'm just going to kind of go back here a little bit and hit pause. Now I am kind of puzzled by a couple of things that I see on this video. So basically, if they're going to be shipping in September, well, the software should be in a well off into the beta stage, basically being finalized, and everything should be demonstratable in a normal capacity. However, in the reader here, we have navigation with just the pen. We also have fairly slow refresh speeds and updates. We never see the device working without the front light. We still don't see the amber front light, even though technically it's supposed to have dual front light. From what I can see here, this looks just like the blue light. what we can see that's actually a good thing is that this is a reader. I don't know what kind of a document it is. Is it an ebook or a PDF? But we do have the progress. We have some formatting capabilities such as font size. Then we have font to choose. Maybe you can choose in different fonts. This is an indication for me that this is most likely an EPUB. Then you have some display control. Then what is this here? Margin control. And I guess this is scribbling or editing of some sort. So that's basically what we have here. So yeah, changing font size on an EPUB, it's fairly reactive. But yeah, all of the navigation is being done by the pen. And furthermore, they are relying very heavily on that little floating bar, and at least this icon looks like maybe, hopefully, that is an icon that you can actually hide the toolbar. Anyway, then they can switch to color mode. So that's something that's also interesting, that you can actually switch the device from black and white to color mode. It looks like it, at least, which would be an interesting thing to see. And yeah, definitely everything changes to colors, but as soon as we change to colors, the ghosting is there with a vengeance, and basically every single, now that's a full screen refresh, but as soon as we're in a color mode, yeah, it's actually turning into a full screen refresh after every operation to avoid the ghosting, which is a valid option. And when we do have that kind of operations, the screen does indeed look nice from this image that we can see. So the colors do look good, they look vivid, but then again, this is a very strong front light enabled here. I wish if they would have demonstrated how does the screen and how do the colors look like after such a long time. How does it look like without a front light? That's something that would definitely be an interesting thing to see. However, as you can see, this is a comic book reader that does a full screen refresh on every page flip, well, almost every page flip, and for the most part, naturally, that will get rid of the ghosting because it does a full screen refresh. But even then, you do have some kind of going, but definitely better than what it was. But that's not saying much since it's doing a full screen refresh. What we've seen already is that in normal operations, there we go, you get the previous issues that were there, which is the ghosting. That being said, the whites on the DES display are most definitely much brighter than what we can see on the color e-ink screen or the Kaleido panels, which makes sense because that's what essentially makes this technology interesting in the first place. However, yeah, it definitely has some issues of its own. So the potential of what they are showing is of the screen itself is there. The platform is unfinished. This still looks completely unfinished because we cannot see interaction with the touch. We cannot see how does it work in an A2 mode. We cannot see how does it work in video, for example, because if it does have that kind of ghosting for just the icons and you are forced to do a full screen refresh after every single operation, I'm not too confident that A2 mode would be something that's actually usable at this state. However, if this is the type of stuff that you were looking for and you are a backer of this platform, just a second, there we have that kind of an update. If I think that this is going to ship in September, no, I really doubt that it will happen in September. And if it does, again, I will reissue the same warning or kind of word of caution. Manage your expectations to be very low, because the software state of the device that will be shipped whenever this comes, if it comes this year, is going to be rough. So my only hope, again, as before, for the backers, not for the company. I really dislike what they did and I can't really be a supporter of this kind of a company, but for the backers that have their money invested into all of this, For their sake, I hope that Reinkstone does stick with the platform a while after the release, so that they can iron out the bugs and, kind of make it a worthwhile investment. And it's not going to be worthwhile to wait, but at least a worthwhile investment so that people don't lose their money. Now, on the good side of things, it looks like there's progress. It looks like it's not dead, and it looks like that something will be shipped, possibly this year. But I seriously doubt it that it's going to be in September. The results, what I see, not something that I like, and unfortunately, since it's a year delayed, it's no longer, aside from the screen, it's no longer bringing anything relevant to the table. The CPU and the hardware specs are completely outdated. The Android 11 is now a standard, with Android 12 creeping up on the horizon and things like that. So yeah, it's kind of a sad story. And these things that I was looking at, I was first thinking that it's maybe front light bleed, and it could be front light bleed that you see here, or it's the reflectivity of the screen. The biggest problem for me is that we have 0 examples of handwriting and how does it work with as an e-note for writing, and we haven't had any updates in 7 months regarding that, so we don't know how that works. We don't know how palm rejection technology works. We don't know even what the capabilities of this thing are, so yeah. Now the other one is the TopJoy Butterfly. They have the 6-inch and the 7.8-inch devices. They've been taking pre-orders for that. Again, the same story, Indiegogo Kickstarter campaign. This one I actually backed the 7.8 version, 8-inch version, simply because I'm very much interested in the DES technology, and this one seemed a little bit more capable of being released in a state that was kind of usable, maybe. Plus, it was much less of a financial loss if nothing actually happens. So that's the only reason why I actually backed this project. Purely curiosity, and because of this channel. If I didn't have the channel, I would never ever back this up, and I didn't really comment, nor did I say anything about this one, because I didn't want people to, I didn't want to spread awareness about these things, because with Reinkstone, positive or negative things that you say, you are still spreading awareness. And yeah, that's something that I wanted to be very wary about with the TopJoy. Only after it finished, then I started reporting on it. This one's pretty much the same story as the Reinkstone R1, and they had an update on July 29th, and it's still been infinitely delayed, but noticeable difference here is that they are a bit better with their updates. They still have the same excuses and all the same problems, but at least the communication is a tiny little bit better than with the Reinkstone R1. Now that doesn't make a tremendous difference, but it's worth at least acknowledging it. Now, they're a little bit more transparent with their updates as well, and the last update they had, which was actually July 29th, so a couple of days ago, is that, basically trying to own up and giving up a schedule and things like that. So they said, our company will be responsible to the end. We promise that the project will be successful. Please rest assured that although crowdfunding projects are risky, TopJoy, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, at this point, only actions will speak. So fine, they may be speaking from the heart or anything like that, and it's a good thing that they're saying that, but the weight of these words is severely diminished after so many falsehoods and false promises and false attempts being made. So now all the production materials have been prepared. As long as the screen is delivered, it can be produced. This is an important sentence, because this one actually talks quite a bit about the transparency that I mentioned. So before, the process standard of screen did not meet our requirements. We continued to upgrade. I mentioned that before, that there were some pressure issues and things like that. That was back in March. So we continue to upgrade, which delayed some time. We originally planned to ship it to everyone at the end of July, which was important. But because of COVID-19, again, they're saying that the screen factory was shut down 2 weeks again and can only be postponed again until August. I mean, this doesn't really track, because first they said we will ship in July, then in July they said we will ship by end of July, and you know, there's no way that you don't know all of these things. So at some point, maybe they should have just said, hey, we're shipping in September, and if it happens earlier, that's a positive surprise. So that's something that neither of these companies are actually doing, and yeah, it just doesn't kind of work for me. We apologize for our repeated delays, at least they're acknowledging it, but there is nothing we can do. Yes, there is, don't make false promises, so don't overpromise, over-deliver. Please wait patiently, it is the final stage of the project. Well, I'm gonna hold reserves. It looks like it sounds like it, but I'm still gonna, hold my reserves here. Follow-up will continue up to date according to content of the timeline. And here's the timeline, which is a lot better than Reinkstone saying we're gonna attempt to deliver in September. So on one hand you have, we're gonna try in September and see what happens. And on the other one you have 1st of August, 6-inch screens delivered. That actually tracks, because as a backer I got the update here on the Kickstarter, and on the Kickstarter they actually made this update, which is the picture of apparently received pallets of 6-inch screens. So at least the 6-inch screen pallets have arrived, which was for August 1st, and August 1st they reported on that. So this one, the first promise, actually tracks of their new timeline. So on the 8th of August, they now want to have 6-inch screen completed, TP lamination assembly, and then on the August 10th, the 7.8-inch screens should be delivered, and then they have equipment assembled and produced and completed the quality inspection. Yeah, so that means that they are planning around 10 days of quality inspection and assurance of the screen itself only, and then they are doing the assembly of the 7.8-inch screen by the end from 18th of August until 25th of August, and there we have 7 days allocated for equipment assembled and produced and completed quality inspection. So that's like a ginormous alarm bell in my head and what I can see, because that means one of two things and one of two things only. Either they are going to discover problems, inconsistencies, or some kind of things that normally pop up during Q&A during this time, and then they're going to have another delay because they're going to try and fix those issues or the units that are affected or things like that. In that case, I predict that if they're super in a hurry, they're going to start shipping the units that seem to be okay, and these and some are going to be delayed, and then we're going to probably have a mismatch. So that's probably, option number one. And option number two, which is much worse, is that because of the severely limited Q&A timeline that they have kind of allocated here, that what is going to be shipped is going to be, well, God knows what. It's going to be at the very least very inconsistent. So that is not a good thing that I see here, nor does it give me much confidence at all. Then we have final 5 days of August, 25th to 30th, product packaging, confirm backer's address, contact logistics company, and start delivery. Where in all of this is quality inspection of the entire device, not just the screens? I mean, if these quality inspections are of the entire devices and not of the assembled screens, then this doesn't make any sense. And yeah, it's very nice that they've delivered a detailed timeline. It's great that they've received screens and that we are having some updates. So when compared to the disaster that the Reinkstone R1 is, which is constantly teetering off the edge of a complete scam, but it's trying not to be, so it's like always falling onto the edge of being a scam, but then they kind of issued the barest of the bare minimum, but so much so that their communication for Reinkstone R1 was so bad that Kickstarter actually closed their campaign because the company was not meeting Kickstarter standards, which are fairly low. So when you're competing against that, it's not really that easy to come out on top and, you know, look better. So this is the perspective that I'm looking at the TopJoy Butterfly. Yes, it's better than Reinkstone R1, but so are so many other things. So in its own right, TopJoy Butterfly is still really, really bad, like a properly bad campaign here, but there's some more information here and there's some more development actually happening. But what they promise here, as I said, main issue for me is the quality assurance, the lack of quality assurance and beta testing and all that. And of course, lack of any examples, because if you go on the TopJoy's videos and TopJoy YouTube channel, there's absolutely nothing here. There's TopJoy Butterflies live on Campfire, and that was 9 months ago, 8 months ago, 7 months ago. That was it. And there was this kind of touch screen, which is a different thing. So yeah, not really that good on this front either, but at least it looks like that they are going to try and start shipping out in September as well. So we wait for September for both Reinkstone R1 and TopJoy Butterfly to issue new delays and new excuses. And maybe there's like a tiny bit of a chance that TopJoy ships out 6-inch devices, some of the 6-inch devices in September. So that's at least my take and what I read and what I see from these updates here. All right, so that's basically it. That's my take on Reinkstone R1 and TopJoy Butterfly, where they are and what they are doing. Why I am focusing on these devices and why do I do a follow-up? Because I know that there's not a lot, but some people who have backed up, unfortunately, the Reinkstone R1, despite the warnings that both me and JB have issued that people should be very careful and wary about these things, still a lot of people have actually backed it up. This is probably due to reporting from other news outlets or, you know, media outlets who were, you know, they tended to have like headlines like new epic thing is released, like when even the Kickstarter was not up or anything like that. So that, for me, I think it's an irresponsible type of behavior because it misleads people to believe that products like these have some sort of credibility, especially if you see them on a larger type of a channel with no scrutiny being shown or done in any way, shape or form. So I honestly believe that's the only reason why either of these two have managed to get financed and succeed as Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns, because of successful media exposure. But anyway, since I know that a lot of people are kind of in this boat of being stuck, having spent money into either of these two and not knowing what's going on, I try to check this stuff out, report on it when I see some of the news that come out, and to give you my objective and subjective look at this so that I can try and give you a more realistic set of expectations so that you know what to expect and to manage expectations to kind of minimize disappointments, if at all possible, at this stage. Alright, that's it for me. I hope you found the video useful. I don't know if you can like a video with this type of unfortunately not good news content, but it is what it is. But at least I hope you found it useful. Thank you so much for watching and thank you so much for the support. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye.